Welcome into this Reporter Roundtable. I'm Elaine Wilson. 5 months after the tragic shooting on the Las Vegas Strip, the Las Vegas Victims Fund has finally announced how much money was raised to help those in need. Just over $31.4 million. We bring in our business reporter, Nicole Raz, to talk about everything involving this Victims Fund. You've been following this story for quite a long time. So it was announced again today. $31.4 million is being distributed. That's quite a bit of money over quite a bit of people. So how do they plan on distributing those funds?
The $31.4 million is slated to go to 532 victims through the end of this month. So starting on Monday, ending in March, everyone is supposed to get their money. The number of claimants, 532, might go down because some are still being vetted. Family members of those who were killed will get the highest level of payment at $275,000 per claim, and people who stayed in the hospital overnight will receive between $17,500 and $200,000, depending on how many total nights they spent in the hospital. The amount for people who received outpatient or emergency care on or by October 10th is still being worked out, but that's how the process is going to work.
Okay, so again, $31.4 million seems like quite a bit of money to dole out to all these people, especially the $275,000 or so that can go to people who lost loved ones. So how does that compare to other tragedies that we've seen in recent years and how much money they've raised? And how is this really going to work out for the people who get this money? Is it going to be enough, essentially?
I think it's important to note that I'm sure for a lot of people, a lot of this money is going to feel like a lot. But compared to other tragedies, I've reached out, me and my colleague Alex Cohen reached out to people who were victims of the 2013 Boston Marathon bombings, as well as people who were victims of the 2016 Pulse Orlando shooting. And we heard that that money goes by much faster than expected when you're out of work and you still have bills to pay. Mm-hmm. And just to give some perspective, I think it's worth noting that the amount raised for this tragedy in Las Vegas is only about $2 million more than was raised for the victims of the 2016 Pulse shooting, in which 49 people were killed and 68 were injured. And it's about half of what was raised for the victims of the 2013 Boston bombings, in which 4 people died and 264 were injured. And just as a reminder, in Las Vegas, we had 58 people killed and more than 700 people injured, according to the police department.
It seems like we've been waiting to hear on how this money was going to be distributed and how much money was going to come. You said back in January we were expecting this number, and here we are in March finally getting the exact number of $31.4 million. What took so long for this number to come about?
You're right. We were expecting to get a final amount of what was raised by the end of January. That's when they said, we're going to announce how much money we've raised, and that's when we're going to encourage people to stop giving money. But I think what appears to have happened is they said instead, okay, let's collect as much as we can, and so therefore we'll collect through February with the intent of trying to get all the money that people are going to give now, with the intent of not doing a second disbursement. In the case of Pulse and Boston and some other tragedies, what's been the case is that there's been an initial disbursement, people got their money, and in the meantime, more money has come in, and that additional money then went out for a second disbursement. They're preferring not to do 2 rounds of disbursement in this case.
Very interesting. Thank you, as always, for just keeping up to date on how this Victims Fund was going to work. You've been reporting wonderfully on this whole thing, and we appreciate you joining us today.